introduce Jared today. He's going to be showing us the second part of what the Focus team has been putting together for us. So a couple of weeks ago, they showed off the Focus missions integration that they're moving quickly and getting several of our churches up to speed on. If you missed that, you're going to want to catch the video from in the knowledge base. But today, Jared's going to be showing Focus NextSteps, which is a really cool solution for digitizing paper forms that your church might have. Things like if your church uses a connection card or some sort of I'm new here form. But without further ado, I want to introduce Jared and Focus NextSteps. Jared, so glad you joined us today.
Thank you for having us. As Chris mentioned, we're beyond excited for this partnership, both in terms of taking over missions and growing that aspect for you. We've had some awesome success stories with that, and even with MP churches already onboarding. And really, this is the next step to use the title of the application. And what NextSteps really does is you're going to hear set it and forget it a lot. You're going to hear automation. You're going to hear tweaks. And really what this is almost a strategy tool to starting to look at your assimilation process. And not only, yes, we're 100% going to remove the manual entry aspect of it, but the handshake between MP and the way that we've built out conditional workflows and seeing those new believers or new connection cards and any of those quote unquote workflows really start to build relationship between you and your congregation. And so what we'll do is the screen I'm sharing right now is Focus NextSteps. So we're gonna just kind of dive right into this here. And it all starts with the concept of a template. So I'm gonna click on templates here and we'll go to a connection card. You can have as many of these as you'd like. And we'll talk about pricing and how that rolls out and how that's affected. But you're more than welcome to have as any number of connection cards here. And so what I've done beforehand, we can always come up here and create a new template, but I had a template created for you guys. And so this is going to actually upload the image here. And so in loading the template, we have our communication card. And so what we've done is we've actually created these little boxes, and we do that by just simply holding down our cursor and dragging it over one of these boxes. And what this has allowed us to do is actually associate every one of these fields with a field within MP. So here we have full name of the primary person. We understand what a spouse is, and we can add as many children as you would like as well. We can come in here and obviously associate birthdays and emails, even down to the ability to get your prayer requests. And with the addition of the conditional workflows, we can send them to different areas and different teams. What's really exciting about this is, yes, we can do checkboxes as well. You'd be able to enter in that checkbox label and again, associate it with what areas and what fields within MP you'd like to associate them with. So once we have our template in place and we have our fields associated with it, now it's starting to really open up the world of conditional workflows. And so this is oftentimes in the demo process when we have these conversations with our clients, it's a lot about strategy. And so I'll just take a minute here to say, start to look at your card and start to think what it's capable of doing. And I've created a couple examples in here of what it is capable of. And so based on those fields, we can obviously send texts, we can send emails, we can decide to don't add somebody to a first-time guest or follow up with an email. And so what that looks like, and we can go into any one of these and edit these workflows. And this is where you'll start to see your understanding of NextSteps and of your contact process and assimilation process really grow. Some of our customers have workflows of 60 plus on one card. And that's really creating these automations, making sure that nobody's lost in the flow in following up the NextSteps process. And so what we have here is your primary person, spouse or child. We dictate an if-then process. So if the process has, and we can sorry, I got cut off there. Based on an opportunity, we can go in through the MP assimilation process, or we can go into a database program based on whatever you have. And so this is a very basic MP integration here, but these are some of the areas that we touched on. So the arts ministry. Then we can add a field, and based on that field, it can be by name, age, gender, marital status, all the way down to checkboxes, and even those that have opportunities. So based on that, again, our demo environment's a lot smaller than probably what you guys will see. We can see these assimilation programs and databases. Then we can simply come down here and say, if this is happening, then what else is happening? And so we can send them an email. We can send them a text message. We can actually add them or don't add them to the different opportunities that we have within MP. And so in this one, we selected an email template, and I'll touch on that in a second, where you can create multiple email templates. And so really the strategy here is unlimited, to be able to create multiple workflows, to be that first line of defense that trigger other opportunities within MP, can really close the gap on top of course, removing that manual entry process. And so we're going to talk about the manual entry process in a second here. And all of that lives in batches. So the way to create a batch and what we require on your end is just a scanner. We recommend, and we'll put that on the MP site, a Fujitsu Scan Snap. It's about a $350 to $450 price scanner. And that allows you to do front and back double-sided cards. And the biggest thing about having that tool, again, we're not here to sell scanners. If you have the capability to bulk scan at your church, it's not a driver's issue or anything like that. We just need high quality PDFs or PNGs or JPEGs that we can start uploading to this process. So as long as your process is consistent, we're going to be consistent as well, because we do what's called pixel by pixel recognition. Going into a new batch, we'd select a Connect card or our pledge cards or things of that nature. And so let's select this one here, and then we'll name it. We'll create a batch name and a batch date, and then we'll go into our verification process. So if you would like to individually look at every single card and approve those, you are more than welcome to do that. We actually have a 99.9% verification process. And what we would do after that is, if there's any errors on our side, we can show you all of the ones that were verified with 100% certainty. And then the ones that we missed, maybe an S looks like an 8 or something like that, a U looks like a V, and we call it a discrepancy. We will make those known to you. So some churches start with the idea that they want to verify everyone, and we're perfectly capable of doing that. Or if you'd like to trust our process and verify only the discrepancies, you can do that there. Now we have an SLA process here. So we normally see around a 4 to 6 hour turnaround. And so what that looks like is, you've had your Sunday services, just like counting money in the back room, you'd be able to take these cards into that same back room and begin a scanning process. The goal here is to have those cards scanned by Sunday night, so that you can 100% take advantage of the verification process and the send out process and the importing process into MP, let's say Monday morning. Now, maybe depending on your type of process, we do have accelerated turnaround. So we're going to talk about pricing, but we'll touch on that with a calculator in a couple minutes here. This is counting one field as 2 fields, and that would require a 2 hour turnaround. And then we have a 4 hour turnaround where it's 1.5 times per field. And so we charge right around 3 cents per field. And so looking at that, you're looking at 6 and 4.5, I want to say, yeah. So per field. And so that's going to allow you to either compete with a 2 hour, 4 hour, or a 4 to 6 hour turnaround. And then when we just simply create batch here, your standard process for whoever that person who's uploading and submitting your batches, you would take, maybe that scanner is going to drop everything into a Dropbox. You take that Dropbox folder and the contents of it and drop that into this this upload area. So again, JPEG, PNG, or PDFs, we can read those. PDFs come in front and back, and as long as your template is front and back, we'll be able to read those. So really easy process, and will hopefully be part of your workflow for a Sunday night or a Monday morning. Now, looking at the batches themselves, we'll come in here and we're actually we had permission to go into one of our customer sites, and I'm gonna show you what that looks like first. But we're actually gonna look at layout right now. So in batches, this is what it would look like. We'd have our completed batches on the bottom, and then those that are ready for verification on top. So this is post you submitting your batch. You would get a notification from us that says your batch is ready for verification, and you'd simply come here and view your batch. Coming in here, you'll be able to actually see the individual card and go through the verification process of it. So here we can see first time guest, we can see that identified Brandon, it got us our birth date, it got us our email address, it got us a full address here as well. It's missing a home phone number, and now based on our reconcile between us and MP, we'll be able to, if there was a home phone, populate the home phone within MP. Same thing if there's a new cell phone for this particular individual, update just the new cell phone. And so again, keeping that database clean, keeping automation up, and handwritten information down. So spouse the same way here. We can identify what that looks like, and we can also identify spouse, cell, checkboxes, and prayer requests, all in that one area. And so one other thing we're going to touch on here is what it looks like when it's fully active. So this is a church out of Alabama, a very large church called Church of the Highlands. And so we're going to just kind of see what it looks like when it is fully populated. So here we can see last week they had, or over the week as a whole, 752 items. Of that, 241 people were added through this process. And so we can always go into their batches and see what they're doing. And so we'll be able to go into a batch, see all these different completed batches. And what's the most powerful about this is seeing the audit reports and being able to have that clarity from your standpoint down as to who is doing what and when it's being completed is very, very powerful. And then what is actually being done within MP. So based on each one of these, we can see the actions that were taking place. And so this is actually through a WUFU form. And so they imported it that way. We can do both CSV or handwritten card templates, as we mentioned. And so each time we can come into here and see the overall effect that this has on each one of the times that we update. Here, back to our original batches, on 99 cards, 297 fields were updated, and because it was a CSV, it only took 3 minutes to process. And so there's just some really, really great benefits to being able to, again, have that impact at the large level and create not only an automation, but we'll look at one of their other templates here and see what type of conditional workflows they have. So based on this, they have a great number of cards, so of conditional workflow. So based on a salvation, based on a renewal, based on a renewal less than 6 months, based on a salvation checked under 12 years old, a process that takes place. And so really being able to truly understand and see it with a church of this size, and as I'm sure as we grow our understanding of this, being able to come up with even greater and new creative ways that we can start to automate that card process for you guys. I'm going to touch on a couple more of the housekeeping items on the left-hand side here. We have results map, and this is more for the concept of we are definitely doing our best to have the greatest OCR standards, but sometimes handwriting verification just has implicit errors. So one that we see all the time is seeing a V confused with a U. Well, we want to have a results map here. I live in Nashville, and at our church we use this software. And when those new cards are coming in, maybe because the box is too small or somebody's not being maybe being a little lazy, they type in Nash all the time, and we don't want that to affect our database. So being able to have a results map where that says every single time it says Nash, turn that into Nashville when it's in relationship to the city. You can simply create a new result here. So every time it identifies a source, we can replace that and identify what field it's in. The last bit, we use an example of having an email template. Very easy to do here. You can simply come in and edit an email template, create a new email template, and any sort of code and copy that you want to drop into here, you're more than welcome to do that, imagery as well, and you'll be able to have your email templates all set up there. The last bit, of course, is giving specific permissions to who can do what. Obviously, you'll have a person, maybe it's both people, the same person who's verifying is the same person who's uploading, but we'll be able to control those permission levels there. And so pulling out, taking a little bit of a breather there, what we're here to do is create 100% seamless transference of handwriting to digital. The handshake between us and MP is going to really allow you to take advantage of those conditional workflows and create automations literally the second those cards are scanned, so that you're creating value and follow-up and hopefully a step towards true assimilation. And then at the end of the day, if we can allow those people that were spending that time on manual entry and put them into ministry and create better follow-up, we're hoping that this process actually opens up more free time for you guys to do your job in an even greater way. And that partnership with MP has allowed us to bring this to you. So other than that, I think we're going to open it up for questions. Chris, if you want to join me, and potentially Levi if he's on the other line.
Yeah,
I think the first question. Oh,
so I was just going to, don't hesitate to throw questions in the question box, and we will get those over to Jared.
Well, I was going to go ahead and say, one of the things you didn't go over, Jared, was you said you were going to break out a calculator and talk about pricing. Did you still want to do that, or did you cover it with the 3 cents discussion?
No, absolutely. That was my slip. So what we'll do here is scroll down. You can find this on focusministry.com. It's focusministry.com or focusministry/NextSteps. And you can scroll down here, and the way we see it is $3 per field. The average card has about 10 fields. Oh, 3 cents. 3 cents. 3 cents. We're making a killing over here, guys. No, 3 cents per red field, and a field, as we showed you with those green boxes earlier, are full name, address. A checkbox is a single field. So we try to compile those as closely for an affordable result as possible. With that said, one card with 10 fields is offering right around, is 30 cents. From an estimation standpoint, if you guys are seeing maybe 200 cards a weekend, we're looking, well, that's per month. So if it's 200 cards a weekend, we're probably looking at 800. So you're looking in the 200 range, and it will take away all of your automation, or we'll create, take away all your manual entry, increase your automation. So each time you'll be able to come in here, if you're doing 20 to 25 cards a month or a week, you're looking at a $30 monthly. So feel free to come in here, play around, and pricing, you're literally looking for one card, 30 cents a pop, and you can go from there.
Now, do you guys offer any sort of like test drive, or try before you buy or play?
Yep. And so part of that process for us is going to the MP website. Under integrations, you'll see not only our capture page there's a video there that you can check out and interact with. Once we send you a 30-day trial, you'll actually be able to upload 50 trial cards and go through that process and just kind of test it out, both from a scanner standpoint. We'll be able to walk through that. Me and my team would follow up with you direct and be able to help build that environment for you, and just make sure that this is as seamless a process, and take those first 50 cards and see the impact that it's making in terms of manual entry.
Okay. Megan, we've got a couple of questions in there.
Yeah, one question is about the workflow. So the email and text, you set up the workflow. So if somebody indicates that they're saved and that they're older than 12, it's going to do this, that, and the other. Is any of that recorded in Ministry Platform as far as like message log, contact log, anything like that?
It is not. So the first, the standpoint of bringing over fresh data, that is what is going to be recorded in there. But from a log standpoint, the log that we do keep is for you and is within your, let's look at a audit log here. That is all there for you. It's just being stored within Focus Next Steps.
Yeah, I think this might be a good one. I'm going to make a note about this one. This one actually might be really good for Chad and I to talk about. Whenever an email, like, so we have a mechanism in Ministry Platform for recording that something was sent to a person in the church. So that might be something I can talk to Chad about and just see if it's possible, because it's literally, it's a very, very simple thing to add. But what it would allow them to do is, if they're in Ministry Platform, they would see that Focus Next Steps, sent the salvation email or sent the text or whatever. But that's a great question, Chris. But not yet.
So maybe soon.
Another question is about pricing. Do you have anything for people who know that they're going to have higher volume that's more of a set price of, if you're going to have over this many fields or over this many cards in a month, that it switches to more of a flat rate, or is it always the 3 cents per field per card?
We tried to make the 3 cents as affordable as possible. With the expanse of MP and this particular client base, we've considered it. For right now, our standard pricing is 3 cents. We've looked into a standard model. Because this fluctuates, we try to keep it, as you know, during the holiday season, we're going to see an increase in the number of visitors. And we didn't want to charge you that flat rate in February where it could potentially be slow. So for right now, from a heart standpoint, we wanted it to be, you pay for what you use. But let's say in 2018, it is a consideration from the Focus team to start looking at what those flat rates would be. And that could happen on a conversation by conversation basis.
Awesome. Thank you. Anybody have any other questions you want to throw in for Jared? Things you want to see again or need clarification on? We need like the Jeopardy music, like do 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 do. Okay. Y'all don't want to listen to me sing the Jeopardy music, do you? Question just came in for availability. So is this something people can get set up with today, next week, next month? What's the timeline for availability and turnaround for getting it set up with y'all?
Absolutely. So it is now. It is officially launched. We can be able to create an integration for you on our end. The way to go about that is, again, through MP's site. Under integration, you'll see a video there, and as you scroll underneath the video, there's a little form there that will come right to our sales team. We can create a trial for you on the fly, and all of the MP integration is simply put right there. We actually have, as similar to our missions integration, an FAQ coming out that Megan's going to send your way, just to identify any MP specific questions. But you could start using this immediately. As soon as we've got your contact info, we can start creating those trials for you. In terms of setting it up, if you sign up within that first 30-day trial, we actually offer a $500 free implementation. So after that, it is $500, but the implementation, hopefully within that 30 days, you see the value, and we can give you that implementation. At that point, they're actually going to go in, create your template with you, create conditional workflows, walk you through results maps and creating emails together, and launching a couple of batches together with the approval process. So all of that is there for you. With addition to that, the main area is getting a consistent way to get these in. So the one hurdle for some of the MP customers out there is just getting a stable scanner. So a lot of times people will say, well, we've got a very expensive copier. Well, you've got to think about sending 100 or 200 or 300 of your tiny cards through, and as they slide, they just have to be consistent. Having a bulk scanner and making that $300 to $400 investment is probably your first step in the process. So I would look at a scanner, and after that, as long as there's a consistent way to get those cards into a PDF, JPEG, or PNG form, you guys can start using this today.
Now, is it one PDF per card, or can you, for instance, if you had one of those bulk scanners, can you do, can it scan a bunch of cards in one PDF?
It can. It will be able to recognize a single PDF and split them, or it is recommended with a front and back. Most of those scanners do spit out individual PDFs. Again, they're usually going to a Dropbox or shared system at some point. You're just going to drag that folder into Focus NextSteps and be off to the races.
Okay.
Not having any other questions come in at the moment. Could you just mention the name of, I know it'll work with multiple different scanners and things like that, but can you just mention the name of the scanner again that you guys recommend?
Absolutely. It's a Fujitsu Scan Snap.
Awesome.
And we'll put, I'll link that. I'll send you that, Megan, so we can attach that
perfect.
to the as well. That's the one we've seen the most affordably priced. It seems to be the #1 Amazon pick. But again, we're not here to sell scanners. We're here to work with what you have. As long as that piece of technology is consistent both on scanning an image and doing that in a timely, time-effective manner, as long as it's not a burden for you, it shouldn't be a burden for the software.
Man, I was hoping that was on Black Friday special, but we missed it. All right.
Okay.
And we got 3 minutes to spare. Look at that.
We did get a late question. Which version of the Scan Snap?
Oh.
I
People
would.
are asking questions now.
Let's see.
I can tell that this Spock is on Amazon right now, Googling it, trying to find it and order it. There you go. It's the IX500.
The IX500 is the one that we've used in the past with very, very little error whatsoever.
Cool. Very cool. And Megan, Chris wants to know, how did you know he was shopping already?
Because that's what everybody, this is Cyber Week, isn't it? That's what everybody's doing. No one's really working. Everybody's scouring online for deals.
Oh, well, cool. Well, Jared, I just want to say thank you for joining us today and showing off this integration and what you guys have done. This definitely represents a great step forward, just being able to take what has been paper and what has been the connection card tool in our software over and over and over again, usually driving some receptionist or secretary crazy on Monday and Tuesday morning into something that is digitizable and scalable. So thank you to you, and I want to throw Chad's name out there. Their technology, I don't know any way to say, their Uber geek that we got to work with on this, Chad, was just awesome, and he did a really great effort in getting all this integration done in a very short amount of time. So I just want to throw him some kudos. It was great working with him and your whole team on getting this all set up.
And we're beyond excited for the integration on this half. The one nice thing, we actually had one of your MP admins with Perimeter Church actually have some requests around different pledges and things of that nature. And again, being the company that is building this isn't a reseller relationship necessarily. This is something that has been homegrown specifically from the needs of our client base, and then understanding the needs of the ministry platform folks. And so as things come up, I promise you, it seems like we may have gotten a feature enhancement out of today's conversation. We're developers at heart, and we're here to really go down the rabbit hole and build great solutions, both on missions and as well as really understanding the needs of these cards and being able to create an automated process for you all.
Awesome. Well, Jared, thanks again for being with us today. And to everyone else, Megan, do we have any more webinars coming up before the end of the year, or is this?
This is our grand finale for the end of the year. We are doing another integration webinar with Vision 2 at the beginning of January. So that's the next one on the docket.
Awesome. So, well, for everybody who's been joining us for webinars, we hope that you have a fantastic Christmas. We'll be praying that your Christmas Eve services go smoothly. And I'm hoping some of you will be up and running with Focus NextSteps, and we can get some customer testimonials about how scanning all those visitor cards go over Christmas. So, Jared, everybody, thanks again. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. This will all be on the KB in the next day or two. Talk to you later.